Are you a movie fan like us? And do you like action movies the most? Then you have come to the right place. Today, we're going to talk about a legend in the martial arts field and one of the best actors, master of the masters, king of the kings. Also, we'll spoon feed you with exciting updates about movies and a most hyped show. So make sure you stay tuned and watch this video until the end. Firstly, how did the world recognize the Karate King? Have you ever had some interest in learning martial arts? Or do you like watching action movies? Then you must have heard the name Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was a martial art expert and an instructor in the field too. He produced some fantastic films as well. He was a role model for many and supported the development of Hong Kong action cinema. His films changed martial arts worldwide by innovating new fighting techniques. He introduced his first martial arts school in Seattle and the latter in Oakland. He was famed by Time magazine for including him in the 100 most important people of the 20th century. It would not be incorrect if we said that Lee was the fighting trendsetter. He also gained influence in other fields, which include judo, karate, mixed martial arts combat fights, and boxing. His footwork was great because he got dance lessons at a very early age. Lee even won the Hong Kong Cha-Cha Championship in 1958. After that, he got cast in The Green Hornet by a producer who was amazed watching him at a karate tournament in Los Angeles. But the film got canceled, posing difficulties for Lee to follow his passion for acting. However, it wasn't long before he crashed the box office with his fighting moves in the film Marlowe, and from there, he started climbing the stairs of success. Inspirational, right? Up next, we have some exceptional fighting scenes from the blockbuster film Enter the Dragon. With what you have heard until now, you would surely be interested to know even more about Bruce Lee's fighting roles in some of his blockbuster movies. Well then, hold your horses, as we will be describing some similar scenes. Are you ready? Enter the Dragon is the film where Lee displayed some amazing fighting skills of himself. In the mirror illusion scene, Lee had to fight a mafia gang leader, and he was trapped in a hall filled with dozens of mirrors. In many reflections of the same person, Lee couldn't identify which was the real boss. He got beaten in the start. It was a fight that wasn't just physical. Rather, it tested Lee psychologically too, to the utmost capabilities of his mind. After fighting a difficult combat, Lee finally defeats Han by killing him and saving himself from the metal claw that Han wore to attack the martial artist. Lee won. Cheers! However, this was not the only scene which owes us an appreciation for Lee. Also, in the movie, Bruce Lee had to fight an American martial arts expert, and this fight had an element of emotion too, as the enemy had killed Lee's character's sister in the movie. Nevertheless, Lee easily thrashed his enemy and made sure it was he who stood on the corpse of the dead American. Up next, guess what movie is up next? Don't worry guys, the best fighting scenes are not restricted to only one film, so don't decline your order for popcorn, because there are many more on this list. For example, in 1971, Bruce Lee did another box office thrashing film called The Big Boss. In the film, Bruce Lee had to witness all the wrongs and still do nothing as a pledge bound him. However, the injustice from the villains didn't allow Lee to have control over his emotions for much longer, and he finally let his frustration out in the ice factory, where he had to fight hundreds of enemies at the same time, and he had to use all of his skills and weapons which he gained access to. The fight was breathtaking and one of the best ever witnessed in the entertainment industry's history. In the scene, knives and daggers were used by Lee to make his enemies eat dust, and he also used stocks and many other weapons in the most expert way. The innovation in the scenario is still very refreshing and still influences the fighting scenes in current generation films. Fist of Fury was the film where Lee had to fight a living monster. The living Russian giant had a duty to protect the main villain. He had the capabilities to bend steel rods with his bare hands. He even showed me how to hammer a nail into a hard object. But what he did not know was he was facing the best martial artist in the entire world. Lee took on the monster with kicks and punches, and when he was half dead, he finished him off with a super kick followed by a killer chop, finally taking the life out of the giant. So, what other fight scenes made the list? For the fight lovers out there, the above mentioned fight scenes must be too intriguing and captivating, and that is why we're not gonna stop here. Some more amazing films await. Lee directed a film called The Way of the Dragon. This is more than evident to say that the movie was inspired by fight scenes, as they were more highlighted in it. In the scene, Lee starts off showing some normal boxing skills that every other boxer can easily do. A group of thugs saw him performing the moves and decided to take on a fight with him, and that is where they dug their own graves. With only a handful of kicks, Lee was able to throw the gang boss to the ground, while he humiliated the other members completely and very easily. Furthermore, in The Big Boss, Lee found out that the man he used to work for was the person who killed his cousins. This made him furious, wanting the blood of his own boss. boss. So, to give him what the boss deserved, Lee took on a fight with him. The boss had the advantage of a sharp-pointed knife, but Lee, so emotionally persuaded by the blood of his cousins, laid a ferocious and long fight with the villain and finally sent him to hell by bursting the ribcage of Xiao Mi, the boss, through his fingers. You heard right, and his fingers were no less dangerous than any weapon. Coming right up, are there any other good Bruce Lee movies to watch? We're all fond of movies, and somewhere we get emotionally attached to the characters too, but it's sometimes too difficult to find movies that deserve our appreciation. For this, we will be further telling you about some great movies casting the famous and talented Keira Knightley. The first movie we start off on is The Imitation Game. This movie features the character Alan Turing, who is recognized for his ability to decode the Nazi codes. However, when his teammates and members found out that he was gay, he was blamed for having committed an offense and was left out. Knightley took on the role of being Alan's partner. When she realized the gay fact about him, she parted ways with him, but she never stopped caring and thinking about him. Pirates of the Caribbean is an all-time super hit movie, and the character Elizabeth Swanson gained so much popularity and affection from girls especially. However, on the second try, Keira Knightley grabbed the opportunity to play the character. This showed the great potential of growth and determination in the young superstar. The movie succeeded in making a trilogy, as Knightley acted beautifully, making fans from all over the world admire her work. And lastly, 13 Lives ended up leaving a question behind. Did every boy survive the rescue mission? New shows are releasing, and old ones are moving towards their ends, making the fans attached to the entertainment industry without blinking an eye. 13 Lives also got released, and fans seem a little intrigued about the ending of the season. So here's what you might want to know. In the show, 13 boys went to the Tom Luang cave and got trapped inside it due to early monsoon rains. All the officials raced onto the site, but couldn't think about how to rescue the boys, as the water levels had risen to make it nearly impossible to save the boys. The governor then invited experts from all around the world to work out a plan for the rescue. The fact that this show was inspired by true events made the series very eye-catching and indulging. Finally, a plan was formed, and divers had to carry the boys out from the cave on their backs, while the boys were anesthetized. However, there are always shortcomings, and one of the boys woke up during the dive. But thankfully, the diver was successful in making the boy reach safety safely. It was a happy ending for all, and the audience loved the show. Who doesn't like a happy ending? This was all from today. All the mind-blowing and exciting shows and movies are explained. We hope you liked the video. If you did, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. Don't forget to hit the notification bell too, so that you never miss out on all the new updates we provide to our viewers. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.